person who actually uncovered this urbanization, how the urbanization was affecting the temperature measurements, was Dr. Pat Michaels, and he named it the urban heat island effect, because these cities, as they grow outward toward those measurement stations in the farm field, are heating them up. And Dr. Michaels, 40 years, research professor in environmental sciences at University of Virginia at Charlottesville. You've never heard of that, right? No good science going on there, right? Okay, and all of these other, he's also the state climatologist in Virginia until this year, when the Democratic government, the governor and legislature forced him out of office because he refused to give up his dissent from the global warming crisis. That's been happening to a disturbing number of state climatologists around the country. However, to be fair and balanced, Republican Senator John McCain is an ideologue of alarmism and won't look at the data or the logical analysis of the skeptics either. Okay, nor will Bill O'Reilly of Fox News. Now, these 4 books are dynamite. These are on your handout: Satanic Gases, The Meltdown, and so on. Excellent, excellent books. They will give you more information than you can get in a lifetime, dissecting all of the false claims and errors of the alarmists. Now we're going to go on and tackle the second leg of that science stool, the computer climate models. I already told you about Dr. Gray and his book, how in fact the climate models were not validated against past data or tested for future accuracy. What does that mean? Well, when you write a piece of software, what you do is you take data for which you know the outcome, you feed it in, and you see if you get the outcome. If you don't get the outcome, the model's no good. They didn't do that. But none of the climate models have done that. There's all the different reasons why they're not doing that are in Dr. Gray's book. The second thing is they predict a tropical hotspot, I'll show you in just a minute, that stubbornly refuses to appear. I'll show you a plot from Dr. Michaels. And the climate models, none of the climate models predicted our natural global cooling. I know it's hard to believe today. From 2001 to the present, and the astronomers think this is going to go out to 2050, at least to 2030, maybe 2050. Now, we got time limits here tonight, so I'm only going to show you this one example here for the hot spots. Now, these plots are not that difficult here. This is the climate model and what it predicts. This is the North Pole. This is the equator. This is the South Pole. And what this is, this right here is up into the atmosphere from the surface of the Earth. And what the climate model is predicting is that there will be this warm spot, 1 or 1.5 degrees warmer than the rest of the atmosphere, if we in fact have CO2-induced global warming. What do you do if you're a real scientist? You send up balloons, satellites, and you go look for it, right? Well, they did. Here's the same plot. Here's the equator. And they looked up above for the red hot spot. No red hot spot. The climate model failed. They're wrong. Their predictions are absolutely no good. They want to play with them, tweak the parameters, make them better, in 100 years come back and show them to us, that's fine. They're bad now. They're defective. Let's tackle one of these myths. This is the 4th leg of the stool, the alarmist lies. Claim is this is an endangered species. It's going to be gone from the Earth in 50 years or less. Fact, the bear populations are increasing. How do I know? I don't go to the Arctic. But Mitch Taylor does. Professor Mitch Taylor is in charge of counting the bears in the largest region of Canada where all the bears are. They have the biggest group of bears in the whole world. And what he found is that in fact we had only 5,000, 10,000 bears back in 1950, 1960. And today we have 20 to 25,000. What's going on? Warming's supposed to be killing them. Well, in 1973, hunting restrictions were put in. That's why we had 20 or 25,000 bears. It was the hunters killing them all. So they restricted the permits, bears populations are up, we're fine. In addition, the populations, the natural populations are increasing in the warmest areas, which were Alaska and Siberia recently. But these are very adaptable creatures like us, and they have incorporated and formed a new Saskatchewan home security firm, and they are doing really well now. They can buy meat from Oklahoma, and they are eating just real well. They're thriving up there. Now, here's some few scientific facts. Water vapor is a dominant greenhouse gas. Probably never heard that. The alarmists always leave it out when they talk about gases. And they get away with it for this reason. Don't worry about this table. It's in science, not science class, and we're going to point to two things. This is why they leave it out. It's variable in the atmosphere. It goes from 0, where the deserts, to 40,000 parts per million, where in the tropics, where it's really hot. This amounts to 4%. So it goes 0 to 4%. CO2 is mere 280, 380 parts per million. And when you total up the factors, it is 90 to 95% of the net global warming effect on the Earth. So whatever affects water vapor, clouds, precipitation, etc., is the big gun here. The small trivial gun is any CO2 effect. You can prove this to yourself. Let me just take a look. This is a desert region, Snake River. In fact, the nighttime minus the daytime temperature is 60 degrees difference. The day is 60 degrees warmer than the night. Why? Heat radiates away to space. It's gone. However, take a humid region like right here, and the nighttime versus daytime is only 15 degrees. Why? Because you have all that water vapor trapping the heat in, keeping it warm. Okay, here we're going to look at the next leg here. The global temperature has cycled naturally throughout all of history. Now, for 500 million years of the Earth's history, these are the range that the temperatures have been for the globe. 12 degrees C to 22 degrees C. We look at the past 500,000 years, 12 degrees C to 22 degrees C. Right now, the Earth's in the middle at 15. In the past 3,000 years, the natural nature has cycled us through a whole series of warm and cold periods. Here's a few of them listed, not all of them. And we're running about 12 to 17 C. The middle is around 15 where we are right now. All natural. Now, I'm not going to spend time on this one or this. We don't have the time tonight, but I'm going to show you this one because this is where there are immense gore lies going on. 500,000 years in the past. This plot is in his book. This plot is in his movie. However, when he shows this, he never shows this axis labeled with numbers on it. Because in fact it says we're going from 4 degrees above the average C to minus 8 degrees C below the average. A range here from the high peak to the low peak in temperature, which is the blue line, of 12 C or 21 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a huge, huge swing in the temperature of the whole Earth. Now, Gore plots this little 100 ppm change in CO2, the red line on the right-hand side here, labels this, and then that makes the scale of the CO2 the same as the temperature, and then he says, oh, it's obvious, CO2 is changing the temperature. Two problems. Physics is the first one. Physics says